that live is different.
There's something special to making people feel a part of things.
Yeah.
That being like almost behind the curtain or behind that rope.
In a world where QR codes kill kittens and customer service is an oxymoron, UnPodcast has set out to make things right. This is the UnPodcast.
We live.
You are freaking everybody else out right now.
Stay calm! Everybody stay calm. We are live. Do not mess this up for me. This is a big opportunity with technology. Hi, everybody.
Hey, guys. This is cool.
Yeah.
I think it's cool. We don't know if it's working, but it might be
okay.
working.
It's the funny thing about going live. When I would go live, like at home in the studio, and so it's like you control everything.
Yeah.
Here, we control nothing.
No, we're just here and we're alive.
We're just
and that's all we know.
Pretty faces that don't know what they're doing, otherwise known as the talent.
The UnPodcast.
Which is the...
Brought to you by Scott and Allison Stroud.
Brought to you by Scott and Allison Stroud.
Two people who don't know what they're doing.
Welcome. So if you're on the live, hi.
Hey, guys.
Welcome. So
what you got?
If you are alive and listening right now, thank you for spending a little bit of your time, a little bit of your lunch if you're East Coast. If not, good morning on the West Coast. Overseas, don't even know what time it is, depending on where you are, but hello.
Yeah, and if it works, we may do it again.
If you have a question and you're in the live and you want us to answer it about anything we're talking about, or you had a business question you wanted to figure out, or something in your life, I don't know, ask it in the live. We will... Steph will take a look, and if she deems it worthy, she'll let us answer something during it if we can.
Onus on Steph.
And,
that's great.
We will pick somebody to get a pair of Jackass Whisperer socks.
Which we really should have on camera, but we forgot.
But they're over there.
But that's okay. You guys know what they look like.
Yeah, you know socks. Right? Yeah. Everybody knows socks. Okay, so let's talk about the show today.
All right, what you got?
I want to talk about a new thing that's out there.
Terrifying.
That I don't like.
Okay, a new thing you don't like. I'm ready.
Speaking of what I don't like, here's Adam with the socks. Thank you so much.
Hey, that was cool.
All right. Hey, Adam comes through. He's the best. So Jackass Whisperer socks to somebody on the live today. If you want, ask a question. Do something. Or make Steph laugh. Either way. And she'll deem what actually is worthy of it. So the new thing.
Okay, I'm ready. That you don't like.
So there's a world of, if you take the business world and the advertising world and that whole thing. So people who are listening right now, I know a lot of people are in that world.
Yeah.
What's up? One of the issues with advertising, right? One of the oldest lines, and I apologize, I don't have this who said it, but it's a very famous line. Half my advertising works, I just don't know which half.
Yes.
Right? That's the old line in advertising. And so one of the things about you do with ads is to, if your advertising campaign is effective, it's called ad recall.
Okay.
Right? Do you remember the ad? And some people ask, especially after what just happened. We're live right now, but people who are listening to the recording, it's like a week and a half or so from now. Yeah. But the Super Bowl just happened last night.
It did, last night.
Right. So what's up, Kendrick? And so
good.
So Super Bowl happens last night. This is the biggest ad spend there is in North America it's a Super Bowl. Yes. And one of the things you want to do, other than saying, hey, we put out a Super Bowl ad, which is, by the way, one of the reasons some places do it, is how effective was it?
Okay.
You're supposed to justify it. And part of that is ad recall. And what happens is a focus group, somebody will call you up or say, hey, did you watch the Super Bowl?
And what do you remember from the ad kind of a thing?
And do you remember these ads? Instagram will do that sometimes too. You'll be scrolling and they'll say, do you recall this ad?
Yeah.
And you don't have to answer. Like it's just there. It's a survey. Sometimes they could incentivize it or something. But
on
Instagram.
Instagram.
Yeah. And that's just researching saying, how effective was it, right?
Yeah.
7 to 9 times you'll start remembering an ad. All that those stats that aren't true necessarily. It was just made up by somebody who's selling advertising.
It's also like remembering isn't a neutral value. Like I remember good things and bad things, so like you can be remembered for.
But the whole point is it's just like you just noticed it because there's so much clutter. Here's the difference now, though. Soren Iverson posted this up on I think it was on Twitter.
Okay.
And he said this. Hulu Quiz on the ad you watch, and if you're wrong, you watch another ad.
Oh my gosh.
So it popped up on his TV.
But how tough is the quiz? Do I have to cram?
So it pops up on his TV. He's watching Hulu.
Okay.
And it says pop quiz at the top. By the way, because people love pop quizzes. What color was the man's shirt in the Tide ad you just watched? By the way, I'm closing my eyes right now. Okay. Wait, 1 second. I'm closing my eyes right now for people who are listening to this.
I feel like I'm about to be insulted.
I do not know what color my shirt is right now. I do not remember what I put on right now. My
I thought
eyes
you
are
were going
closed.
to say mine for sure.
It's a maroon hoodie.
For sure.
No, we've been married 11 years, and we're going to go another 11.
Yeah, you'll remember what I'm wearing.
100% know what you're wearing, baby. I always know what you're wearing. I don't remember. So I don't have recall on my own hoodie. Okay? Let alone when Hulu decides, here's some ads we got to serve up to you. So it says, ready? So that's the question. And then underneath it says, we ask questions like this to make sure you watch Hulu ads. And then there's 4 choices: beige, white, taupe,
Oh my God.
and yellow. What is taupe? What color is taupe?
Okay, so
First of all, can somebody help me? What is taupe?
what bothers me, it's pretty much white beige. Like, I don't know. It's neutral.
What's
it's a neutral tone.
That sounds like 4 colors that are the same thing almost.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yellow, white, beige, or taupe? Ma'am,
I don't know.
Ma'am?
I don't know how to distinguish between beige and taupe.
are you telling me somebody's got to watch that commercial and know a shade on the color wheel?
I'm going to remember it.
Oh my God. And below it's the answer. And then ready? In the small print, it says, if you answer incorrectly, you'll have to watch another ad. And then another person read it under one of my favorite subs on Reddit, mildly infuriating.
Yeah, always.
I had to watch an effing question to keep watching Hulu. And it was a Lexus ad, and it says, how many rows are in the Lexus TX? 2 or 3?
At least that's about the product, though.
The other one was just simply like the actor in the ad and their shirt.
That's one of the things that bothers me.
Very true.
It's like if okay, let's just say, let's suspend disbelief and hatred for a minute, and let's just say that it's a good idea to follow up with people who've seen your ads to see what they remember. Let's just put that there.
Right.
This is a terrible way to do it, but let's say we just want to do it. Then remembering the color of the person's shirt that had the Tide pen on it isn't even functional to the sale. Like, did you remember how well the Tide pen took out the wine stain or the grape juice stain? Like that.
Or how many rows are in the new car?
Or how many rows are in the new car? Like, at least you can tell me that this makes sense. Whereas the color of the shirt, for me, and now every time I see Hulu, all I think of is that show with the aliens where they go to Hulu Land. So that's what I think of when I think of Hulu.
And we had another thing in our pile that just kind of dovetails into this right now, which is the YouTube.
Solar opposites.
Right.
Sorry.
Thank you. What a great show. But the YouTube, which was people start complaining about these hour-long unskippable ads.
Yeah.
Unskippable ads on YouTube.
Get trapped in the ad.
And so what YouTube is doing with people with ad blockers, same because YouTube has ads in 2 ways, right? They're either served into the video, either pre-roll, during, end, and creators can pick where they drop, and you sign up for different things, what you want to do. But the other side is in video or in line, which is like us reading a sponsorship read. Just like this sweater, this hoodie by Unbound Merino.
Oh my gosh.
Again, they haven't paid us anything. I don't want to keep mentioning them, but I was going to say the mugs, but those are ours, so I can't really mention them. But you know what I mean?
It's just it just doesn't serve the purpose of making the ad more.
But again, sorry, back to the YouTube thing quickly. One of the things that YouTube is doing, and the reason why they're hour-long and unskippable, is somebody's using that ad blocker. And so they're just like, if you're going to use this, so it opens up in a more interesting question. It's like when, like old school newspaper sites and stuff, like it's been blocked if you're using an ad blocker, please, because it's like, look, here's a deal. We have to keep running.
Yeah.
You want to have the content.
Yeah.
The problem is we came from a history up until the 90s, 2000s, where everything you consumed was ad supported almost.
Yeah.
And that was the deal. You couldn't, and by the way, you didn't have a choice.
No.
Commercial came on TV, you went to the bathroom, you did your thing, whatever you had to do, it was there. Super Bowl, we're excited for the commercials type of thing, and now you see them 3 weeks ahead of time.
Yeah.
But the point is that was saying, look, the only way this works, people think it works, is you have to do these things. You have to watch the ads, you have to do the ads, or you can't block the ads.
The answer can't be better ads.
But I do agree with people messing with ad blockers. By the way, I use an ad blocker as well. And I also get it. And when a site says, hey, you're using an ad blocker, when you read this thing, we can't make our money.
I understand.
And then I click turn it off.
Yeah.
And then the article is unreadable.
Yeah.
It's unreadable.
There has to be a balance there. I just think it's an either or.
And I think we're close to part of a version of a balance we're getting to right now because of the world we're in, where journalists have their own Substacks.
Yeah.
Like some of the things that talk about political cartoonists have started.
I want to support work. I want to support platforms. I just don't think that, punishing me and quizzing me is the way to get me to buy your Tide pen.
But I forgot about ads.
Well, but that's also I don't know what anyone else's experience is, but when the Super Bowl's on, it's one of the few times that we watch ads because basically we don't watch in an ad-rich environment, right?
But for me, YouTube Premium is the greatest thing ever for that type for me. It's just,
But then you're paying for it.
right, and that's the thing. That's the deal,
Yeah.
right? But and for me, the big part was like the downloads of it as well, and being able to take it on a plane. But now I have Balatro, so I can play that. It doesn't.
Your current addiction. Have I told the Balatro story?
Yeah, we did. We did on that. It was for like our first episode.
So funny.
Because we were 6 months late to doing the show because I was playing Balatro.
But it was also you're like, I'm just going to go see why anyone likes this card game. And then 3 months later, he came out of the basement.
Yeah, I still don't like it. I have
Yeah, no,
178 hours on it. I still don't really appreciate it at all. All right. Are we still live?
Hey,
It's so weird to
woo!
feel it. I don't understand.
Do you feel it? It just seems like a regular episode to me.
It does too, yeah.
Yeah, so let's keep
That's right.
going.
Well, then, if we're just filming this why are you here? Why are you watching the live? It's like Ferris Bueller. Go home.
No, I want them to watch.
No, I'm kidding. You know, we do have,
What?
amazingly,
What?
we haven't had in over 5 years.
What?
We have a made-up word today.
We do. That's fun.
It's very, very exciting.
Yeah.
Wayne, you can kick that anytime you want.
But I mean, like, that's part of it, right?
Don't make any sense. Don't mean no offense. It brings laziness. What is all this craziness?
Is that your dance?
Our made-up word.
Now with
yeah.
the dance. Now with the dance.
dances.
Now with the dance.
So the made-up word is something we started doing on the show years ago.
Time
a long,
ago.
long time ago. A made-up word is simply something that you look at and say, WTF?
I think the
What is
most
that?
famous, the one I remember, like, whenever somebody says it to me, brogurt is the one.
Brogurt,
Brogurt is the one that popped, like, words.
Yogurt
mostly,
for bros.
Mostly marketing words. It tends to be like people trying to smush two things together that don't belong together.
Broetry.
Like,
I love broetry.
broetry.
Which describes
To be fair,
LinkedIn
bro
posts.
is a great one in any
Bro
context.
works for so much. So, by the way, if you actually find a made-up word, if you look at a word and say, why would you combine two words to make that? And especially if it's part of an ad campaign or something for a
Yeah,
company,
send it
please send it on
along.
over to us. And if you do, and we use your word on air, we will send you any of our books. Your pick, by the way. You pick. You can also pick somebody else's book instead, and we'll send that to you. But we're both going to sign it. And we're going to make it extra weird if it's somebody else's book. So this one.
I love signing other people's books.
So one of our wonderful, wonderful supporters and followers, Kimberly Shipley, brings us and says, so happy to have you both back. And by the way, you want to email it to us, you can go unpodcast@unmarketing.com or just go to unpodcast.com and drop in there as a contact form. Let us know. So happy to have you both back. Here's one of my pet peeves of made-up words, adding Leonaire, as in like millionaire, billionaire, onto words. It's nails on a chalkboard every time I see it. And she's looking forward to the Unwords coffee table book one day.
Ooh,
Right?
good idea. Good idea.
Yeah, I think that's a good idea. And she attached an article.
Awesome.
So it's an article from, I think it's LBBonline.com.
So let's hear. What is the Illionaire
Show
story?
off big gig energy at AT&T's Gigillionaire internet campaign.
Ay, big gig energy.
And by the way, Gigillionaire is G-I-G, all capitalized.
I pronounce it Gigillionaire. See, when you're on live, you get to see Allison really make Scott laugh, which is always a good time. It doesn't happen that much. Like, usually I'm funnier at home, but, you know, sometimes I pull it out.
Yeah, isn't it? Didn't Gigillionaire do Riding Dirty? Like, who did Riding Dirty? Wait a second. It keep me rolling. Is that Gigillionaire?
Sorry, I interrupted you. You go ahead there.
Sorry.
Jig.
And apologies to Chameleonaire for that. I'm sorry. I apologize. I don't want to diss Chameleonaire. And by the way, Chameleonaire, like the number one person who was at like blogging and digital conferences in like 2012, 2013 was Chameleonaire
Yeah.
from Riding Dirty.
He had a moment. Good for him.
He had multiple moments
Yeah.
and owned so many businesses.
We should have
and
so
stuff.
many moments.
We should.
Like, yeah.
We should.
Like,
So, Kimberly, thank you for that. And thank you for the kind words. Let us know what book you want. We'll ship it on out to you. Or do you want some Jackass Whisperer socks instead and stickers? Let us know.
what do you want? Yeah. What should I talk about? Want to talk about Walgreens for a second?
Yeah, let's do some.
Yeah. So, this, I really just want to read the title.
Go.
So I'm going to.
Yeah.
So this is from Fortune. It says, Walgreens CEO describes drawback of anti-shoplifting strategy. When you lock things up, you don't sell as many of them. Shocking.
The breaking realization is somebody coming out on an annual report call with shareholders and came out and said, we found that locking things up like Fort Knox does not always welcome
No.
people purchasing things.
I think there's a content part to this too, like just all the hoops we make people go through, all of those things. Like we talk about it a lot, but putting up all the barriers between, what you're selling, what people are trying to buy,
Yeah, it's a lot.
it's not great for business.
Well, and also, what are you telling people? Right? You're telling everybody just like, we don't trust anybody.
Plus, it was toothpaste, wasn't it? And like deodorant and just very.
Yeah, it started with, for me, it started when I noticed it, when I used to shave. It was razors. It was
Would be
razor
locked
blades.
up.
Yeah. That was it. And I bought a razor.
They lock up formula and stuff. It's pretty intense.
Yeah, that part gets to a whole nother level.
Yeah.
For me, right? You're
Yeah.
like,
I'm like,
it's a painful thing.
but even with digital stuff, I think we have to think about that. Like, what are we putting between
Yeah.
our business and our customers that are just making it harder and harder for them to access, right?
All right. I got another thing here.
What you got?
But first, anything on the live comments, concerns?
There is...
Nobody's there. It's just us talking to
It's-
space.
It slowed down a little bit.
That's okay.
Said anything
So
that
usually in a
pertains.
talk, if you have a Q&A,
Yeah.
or you do a live, what happens is you
I
have
love Q&A.
you have a couple of people that are in there that are softball throwers, right?
Yeah.
They're just ready with a question. They're ready to throw it out there.
But I mean, to be fair, we haven't
didn't
done
see-
this
yeah,
before,
we didn't
so
see
we
the
gotta
audience. It's fine. It's all good.
I can throw you some softball questions.
Yeah, throw me some softball questions.
Yeah, for
go ahead.
sure.
I want to get some socks. All right, let's
The
talk about
funnest thing about that is at least, I would say 65% of all of our socks are Jackass Whisper socks.
and our children's socks as well. They all have the socks. Let's go paint drying. I'll go
Yeah, here,
paint-
you do. Let's talk about it.
So this is something. It was 2023.
Yeah.
I didn't hear about it happening, and it combines so many of the things we love:
Yeah.
hating authority, paint drying, crowdfunding.
I love it. I think it's really
crowdfunding
funny.
campaigns, like all the things together we love. So this is actually straight out of Wikipedia, which was NWA's much less known other hit. And Charlie Shackleton, the name that so many people love. This is a movie he came out called Paint Drying in 2023. It's a British experimental protest film that was produced, directed, and shot by Charlie Shackleton. He created the film in 2016 to protest against the film censorship in the United Kingdom and the sometimes prohibitive cost to independent filmmakers, which the British Board of Film Classifications, or the BBFC, as we all know them, classification requirement imposes. The film consists of 607 minutes. Yes, that's 10 hours and 7 minutes of a static view of white paint drying on a brick wall. Shackleton made the film to force the BBFC to watch all 10 hours to give the film an age rating classification.
Wow.
He initially shot 14 hours worth of footage of paint drying in 4K resolution. In 4K. And opened a Kickstarter campaign to pay the BBFC's per minute rate for a film as long as possible. And so how much money he'd raised, that's how long the film he'd send in.
Yeah.
It raised £5,936 from 686 backers. After reviewing the film, the BBFC rated it U for universal, indicating no material likely to offend or harm. Paint Drying had its first public screening at the Queensland Art Gallery and Gallery of Modern Art in Brisbane between 10-29 November and part of the Cinema Obstruction Film Exhibition.
I feel like your paint drying, like if Scott Stratton decided to make a protest film, I feel like it would just be like a QR code and then you followed it and it went to a website with another QR code. And then if you followed it, it went to an email with a QR code. And then if you followed it, and it was just like sort of how could you spend 20 hours following QR codes? I feel like that would be the Scott Stratton version of a protest film.
And the final thing it lands at is like the literal version of that song, that video that my cufflinks lead to.
Or
Right.
it's the end of the end of the internet page. It's like you've gotten here. Like just go outside and
Yeah,
play.
just go.
Yeah, like
Touch
it's
grass.
enough. It's enough. I was trying to think of like what a protest, like a marketing protest film would be. It's like a cold call for 12 hours or something. And every time you hang up your cold call, someone else calls you, and then you hang it up, and then someone else, and it's just a video of the person's face just dying.
Except they pretend to be your friend every time, so it just makes it worse. What's up, bro? How you doing, man? Yeah, great. Hey.
Like we should film that. We'll make like an experimental film with Scott Stratton answering cold calls for 12 hours. I feel like we could get that funded.
We could. All right, world. Thank you for joining us today. Thank you for coming out on the live. Said hi.
Yeah, thank you guys. We might do this again. I don't know. Do you think we will?
Yeah, I dig it.
Yeah, I think it's fun. I think it's fun to think about, like we were talking about trying to decide if we wanted to like incorporate live at night. Do you have a donkey stuck on your finger?
I enjoy I just enjoy stressing the hell out of the team here. That's really the goal.
I know, I like it
Is
because
to up the stress.
It's working.
no,
Up the stress so much
I
that they just.
like live stuff.
Me too.
Like I like watching live
that's
stuff,
part of
and I
it
think
right
it
now.
adds like a different layer of content. And we've
It's
talked about
It's like one of the things we're doing right now, which is part of that is we're just saying, okay, well, because there's a couple of reasons why we wanted to go live today and look at this and see how it works is because this is part of what you do in business and in branding and in content, which is you look at different industries. So the B2B world, this is an important, I think next episode we're going to talk about influencers as well. But it's always like 10 years behind and stuff. And so myself being a fan of gaming too, especially, and watching like Twitch and creators and stuff and seeing the incredible quality of streaming they do live.
Yeah.
And then also us and our experiences, years ago going into like traditional media and going on like traditional TV shows and stuff where you have 180 people working.
The vibe's totally different.
The vibe is totally different. And here we just have like 3 people crapping themselves, not 180.
But this is much more influenced, I would say, by that kind of like live content, this sort of like streaming video, a lot of video game stuff, like that kind of content that we both really like in terms of what do we watch? Because when you're thinking about content for your business too, it's also thinking about like, what do you as a consumer like, and using those elements of the live, but using it for the UnPodcast, right? Like that was part of the draw of it.
That's part of it, to figure out where it lands and what it works for. Because also part of that is one of the things about this show or your content or anybody else out there is you want to there's something special to making people feel a part of things. Yeah. That being like almost behind the curtain or behind that rope, right? Where it's just like, hey, come on in. Like this is part of the...
And also that live is different. Like like a lot of people come and ask like for about content or ask you about content, what kind of content they should make and how. And like a lot of people talk about live because live can be a cool, like when it was new especially, right? Everyone was going live. It was like you had to do live content. But it isn't the same thing as recorded content. And like when you watch us do lives, it is a lot like it's not very edited, this show. So like what we say now is going to be very similar than what you see when you watch a recorded show. But there are different aspects of it. And if you're going to go live, you have to think about, is live what's right for you? Is recorded what's right for you? And treat them differently.
And part of that too is also like when I asked Steph 5-10 minutes ago about people live right now and like if there's any questions or not, the problem is if you're listening to this right now on the recording and on the podcast, and if you're one of the longtime listeners, that can break that wall for you. Right, where I'm asking, hey, what's going on? People, and I'm not talking about you listening to it. Yeah. It's like doing something only for the video.
But it's also
when the show is listened to for the most part.
Yeah.
Right, where it's like understanding that when you break that wall for it, there's part of that.
And doing something new, right? Like we haven't done this before with the podcast. We've recorded hundreds and hundreds. And now obviously we've come back into the studio, but we've done the show hundreds of times. Right. But this is the first time we're doing it. So it's also figuring out, and we're really cool with that because we're okay if we mess, we're not as worried about that. But when you do it for your business, just thinking about that in terms of being prepared for what'll happen, right? And being present in the moment. Right. Right? For both the recording and the live.
Yeah. And there's your balance, right? Yeah. And that's really figuring it out, which is what we're doing right now. So.
Yeah. Thanks for coming on the adventure. I don't know,
thanks for being on it.
Yeah, we appreciate it, and we're gonna keep playing around with it, I think, and figure it out. And
killer.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun.
Thanks for joining.
Live or recorded. Thanks for listening.
If you're just watching this on a recording, you're too late.
No, they're not. You're never too late. Bye, guys.
Bye.
Be sure to subscribe to the podcast on iTunes and visit theunpodcast.com. And remember, friends don't let friends use QR codes.